What were your greatest culture shocks that you have encountered here?
Windows.
I am bored. What should I do?
Ich weiß.
Get Germanized.
Hey guys, if you want to be notified as soon as a new Get Germanized video gets uploaded, make sure to hit the little bell next to the subscribe button. Thank you very much and now have fun with this video. Hallo und willkommen, ich bin Meister Lenzi and this is Manon, an exchange student living in Germany, and you're watching Get Germanized, an American's weirdest culture shocks in Germany. Well, Manon lived here for a while already, and obviously life in Germany is a little bit different than in the US. And well, what were your greatest culture shocks that you have encountered here?
Windows.
Of course, what else? The windows, die Fenster. Yeah, okay, you have to go into detail on this one.
So German windows, you can just open them and there's no screen. You just, it's just the air. You could just climb out of them if you wanted to. It's so weird.
How is that weird?
Because an animal could just fly in.
So, okay.
Maybe you guys don't have mosquitoes here. But
Oh, we do have mosquitoes, but we have screens for that, mosquito screens that we put in front of the windows and stuff like that.
Oh, we didn't have that in my vacay.
No.
I thought that was super crazy.
Well,
I had moths flying into my room.
So how is it different in the US?
There's a screen that you can't open.
Oh, at all?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't fully open the window?
Mm-hmm. And then the windows, they slide up, and they're much smaller, the part that opens.
All the windows? Everywhere?
Not everywhere, but most places.
Okay, that's strange. I never knew that.
The blinds are on the outside sometimes in Germany, and that freaked me out.
Oh yeah, they are, like in these boxes, right? And then you have this inside string that you have to pull to make them go up or let them down, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought that was crazy. It took me half an hour to figure out how to open my window.
But also doorknobs are different here in Germany. Like in the US, during my time in the US, they were like round and
You can turn them.
turn them. Yeah, but what are they like here?
They have a lot of handles, and the handles to me look like you're supposed to pull them, even if you're actually supposed to push them. I always get to a door and I never know what to do with it. And usually it says drucken or ziehen. But, I ignore that because I'm an American and I do what I want.
Of course.
America. So I end up stopped at a lot of doors.
Well, see where that gets you? That behavior here in Germany? Follow the rules, man. Follow the rules.
I think the first time I really offended someone in Germany was when I went into the bank and I referred to my bank advisor by her first name, and her colleague was really upset about it. He definitely thought that I was being very rude.
Oh, well, yeah, because of formality in Germany, right? It's quite different.
It's very different. Even people at the grocery store would have their Herr Müller or something on their name tag.
The last name.
Yeah, their last name. Whereas in America, you'd have a first name, and it might not even be your real first name if you don't want people to know who you are.
Makes sense.
Whereas my mom's an American bank teller, and her name tag and her little nameplate have just her first name on them.
Jody Ann.
Yeah. Jody Ann.
Jody Ann.
My mom's name's not Jody.
No. But yeah, it's very different, definitely. And I guess it also has to do with the fact that in Germany you have like a polite form of addressing people and an impolite form of addressing people. Like the Sie and the Du, while Sie is polite and Du is informal. We're talking about weird behavior. Next up is knocking on tables. Why would people knock on tables, like all of them at once?
I guess it's a form of applause in Germany, where instead of clapping your hands, you just knock on the table in front of you.
Especially at universities and schools, I think.
At the end of every university class, all the students knock on the table to thank the professor for the lecture. And the first time that happened when I was in the room, it totally freaked me out. I had no idea what was going on, and I thought I was gonna die or something. I didn't know because it was so loud. But it turns out that's just how people, I guess, acknowledge their professor for a good lecture. So if you're ever in a university class and everybody starts knocking, you should definitely join them. Join
in, but I don't even know where that originates from. I mean, I know where clapping originates from like shield and sword, dang, 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 right? Knocking on the table, who started that and why? Maybe you guys know, let us know.
I wonder if it's maybe so you can hold like your drink or something in one hand and then knock on the table with the other.
Maybe.
Or if you're writing in a lecture but you want to acknowledge something.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Good point, Professor.
Good point. I'm too busy doing other stuff, but I'll give you some acknowledgement.
I'm too lazy to acknowledge you with both hands, but you're worth one.
Exactly, you're worth one of my hands. Good job. Try better next time. Well, while we do have many different forms of applause, apparently, people are generally less open in Germany. You've noticed that, right?
Yes, I think when I'm having a conversation with another person, like before class or something, trying to make some friends, The other students will listen in, but they won't really contribute.
Like just sneakily, like, eavesdrop, right? You call it?
They definitely know that we know that they're listening. They just don't really add anything to the conversation.
I wonder why that is. I mean, what I thought of was maybe they just don't want to appear rude or nosy, you know, like it's your conversation, it's none of their business, actually, even if they're curious about it. So they're too embarrassed maybe to join in. I don't know. What do you think, guys? Another point is like that people don't really like to talk on trains unless with their friends, but then really quietly. At least most Germans will do that. While it is very different for foreigners, right? You talk to strangers on the train as well.
I think in New England, or like where I'm from, if you make eye contact with somebody, you kind of have to say hi or ask them how they are. If you don't make eye contact with anything, then nobody will disturb you. But definitely if you're like sharing a seat with somebody and they look you in the eye, you should say hello. Whereas in Germany, somebody might stare right at you and not acknowledge you at all.
Which brings us to the next point. Staring in Germany is a thing, apparently. I never noticed because I'm German. Maybe I do it as well. But for me, it's just like you look at people, they look back like, yeah. And then you look somewhere else and you don't engage them. You know, you don't have to. That's normal. People try to avoid eye contact, I think, on trains because it's kind of uncomfortable sometimes. They try not to disturb anyone. But why is staring I never understood that. Like, what kind of staring do you mean?
I think, especially if I'm out with other foreigners and we're speaking English, or it's very obvious that we're not German, people will just watch us and kind of listen to us and very openly stare at us, but just not ask us any questions. Unless they're foreigners themselves.
Yeah, and because they're foreigners.
Yeah.
They're not Germans.
Yeah. It's much easier to make friends with other foreigners than it is to make friends with Germans, actually.
That's sad, guys. Be more open, stare less, or engage people at least.
How do Germans make friends in the first place?
Well, I mean, I don't know, you go to school with most people that you're friends with later in life as well. It's similar as, I guess, as in Japan, for example. They have very closely-knit circles as well. It's hard to get into those if you haven't, like, been in them for a long time. But I mean, some people it's easier with than with others. Like, for example, I make friends quite easily. Like, I don't mind, I'm open, I'm extroverted. I'm extroverted. But for others it's much more difficult. It really depends on the person.
Yeah, I think most of the Germans I've made friends with are either they used to live in the United States or they're studying American studies or something like that.
I did.
So they're already a little bit like leaning toward American customs.
Oh yeah, makes sense. Well, talking about making friends, you have to speak to people while doing that, and there can be quite the confusion in Germany for exchange students with all the different kinds of German dialects. Because I think when you're in the US, you expect all Germans to sound the same, kind of.
Yes.
I mean, but they don't.
No.
No.
I'm studying in Tübingen, which is in Baden-Württemberg, and it's in part of what they call Schwabenland, like Swabian land.
Yeah.
And the dialect is called Schwäbisch, or Swabian, and it's very, very different from Hochdeutsch, which is, I guess, normal German, or formal German, which is what you learn in school. So I came to Tübingen and didn't understand almost anybody.
I mean, they will speak Hochdeutsch, like High German, Standard German, in like a professional environment mostly. At universities, the professors will probably speak to you in Hochdeutsch. But if you're at the grocery store or somewhere else, you might discover that they will speak with dialects. And that can be quite confusing because many people, when they are in a foreign country, they learn Standard German and then come here and they're like, what?
Yeah.
I don't know what they're saying. That's weird.
Especially significant in southern Germany, I think.
Yeah, they are really proud, I think, of their way to speak
They
there.
love their dialects.
But even if you try to speak to them in their dialect or in German in general, they might just reply back in English. That's a thing, right? That you've discovered, yeah.
If somebody knows that you are a native English speaker by your accent or from something else, even if you start a conversation in German, they might just switch to English.
Because they think it's easy on you. For most people, I think that's the case. They want to, you know, be nice, but they forget that you actually want to practice your German with them. So you have to tell them. Just let them know. Let's talk in German. Lasst uns auf Deutsch sprechen. You said it's also the other way around sometimes, right?
That's true. I think sometimes when I don't understand someone when they're speaking German, they'll just speak louder instead of slower or differently.
Or in English, yeah.
Or in English.
Well, speaking to people can be especially important in Germany when you love dogs and animals in general, because you should ask people before you pet their animals and dogs especially on the street. In America that's a little bit different, right? In the US?
In the US, sometimes if I just look at someone's dog and smile enough, they'll just bring it right over to me. But in Germany, I think if I do that, then they just try to get away from me. They think I'm crazy.
Yeah, people are quite protective of their dogs here in Germany, I think. Or I think at least if you ask someone if you can pet their dogs, most people will say, yeah, no problem. But if you just go up and pet their dog, they will be like, hey, don't touch my animal, my dog, right? So.
I think it's very weird, though. If you do ask, they're not expecting you to ask to pet their dog, and they think it's a little odd.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
I've had kind of mixed experiences with that.
Well, I personally wouldn't mind if someone came up to Shari and wanted to pet her, because she's the cutest dog in the world, obviously. So I expect that, right? Who wouldn't want to?
She's the best dog.
Who wouldn't want to pet Shari? And last but not least, a culture shock when you come to Germany expecting to listen and hear German music all the time. It's going to be difficult because German radio stations, many at least, play English songs all the time. They have a quota that they need to fulfill, I think, of German songs. But other than that, English songs are super popular here in Germany. Like, many people will know all the American bands and artists in general. That's something you notice, right?
Yes. I actually did a lot of research on German music, thinking that's what my friends would be listening to. And I actually introduced them to some German artists that they didn't even know before.
That is strange.
That is very strange.
What's your favorite German artist? Because people, I know that you will ask, like, tell me about some German bands. I actually made a video about that, about German music, and also to relate to another point we talked about before, about German dialects, about all the German dialects. A separate video, I will link both of those in the video description. But yeah.
I think I have a special place in my heart for Mark Forster.
And what else? Rammstein, obviously. Rammstein, everyone. You like Rammstein. No, and I know that not everyone likes Rammstein, but they're one of the most famous ones, at least from Germany. Same with Tokyo Hotel or Oomph. Like I said, I made a whole video about German music. Check it out. Let us know what would be a culture shock for you when you come here. Like, have you heard of things? Or maybe you've even been here and encountered some stuff yourself that you want to let us know about and let others know about to prepare them for their time in Germany. That would be very helpful and appreciated. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video to show us that you enjoyed it. That also really helps to like spread the video. You should tell your friends about it and share the video. That also really helps. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And well, apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.
Little star?
The ass tourist.
Asterisk. Asterisk. Asterisk.
Ass tourist.
Not ass tourist. We already talked about butts enough in the last video.
Butts. No butts. Butts. Butts and boobs.
Boobs.
Butts. That sounds nice.